Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for February 12th, 2025 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my far left is Skip Sweeney and Ashley Garkar. I'm Ivan Valentik. To my right is Davey Rowan and Todd Going. To our far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of our legal counsel, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. So if you plan on speaking, please stand and raise your right hand. All right. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case or commenting, you have to come to the microphone, state your name and address, and confirm you've been sworn in. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
Speak up. It's very hard to hear. Could you speak up a bit?
Yeah, I'll try to speak up louder. Thank you. Heather, legal notices, were they published in a timely manner?
Yes.
Okay. We have two variances this evening. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny a variance. We also have to review and vote on a new rule to section 121.22F. So with that being said, we're going to start. There's no old business. We'll start with new business, which is to establish a rule pursuant to section 121.22F of the Ohio Revised Code. Friday, I was wondering if you could give us a little summary before we kind of go through it and make a motion.
Yep, for sure. So under section 121.22F of the Ohio Revised Code, which is actually the Ohio Open Meetings Act, it requires every public body, which the BZA is a public body, to establish by rule a reasonable method whereby anyone could determine when you guys are meeting, essentially. It also requires that we establish a rule that provides that any person may request advance notice of any meeting. And so this is a technical thing that actually the Zoning Commission just did last week. They established their rule, and we're asking the BZA to do the same since you're a public body.
Okay. Any questions for legal counsel on the board?
Is this just codifying what we already do?
So you have it on your website, yes. It like posts the date and times of the meetings, but the actual part that we really have never necessarily done is actually establish the advance notification. So anyone, news media, anyone in the public can ask and reach out to Heather or her designee and say, I'd like to be on the list of whoever gets advance notification of meetings. So yeah, we have to do this, right?
Oh,
Yep.
all right.
So then, if you're not on that list, the only advance notification goes to the immediate interested parties.
So that is what we are not changing here. We are not making a zoning amendment to what's in our code as far as what notice goes out to interested parties for variances or conditional use permits. This is just for your meetings.
Okay.
The notices for the meetings has nothing to do with the public notices that go out with respect to your public hearings and that sort of thing. This is just the notice of your established meetings and how someone can get notice in advance of your meetings.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. It's confusing. I get it.
Ashley, did you have a question? Nope. Okay. So I'm going to read something here. So I would like to put forward a motion to establish the following rule pursuant to section 121.22F of the Ohio Revised Code. Unless otherwise postponed or canceled, regular meetings of the Board of Zoning Appeals shall be held on the second Wednesday at 7 p.m. Of every month in the calendar year at the Concord Township Town Hall building located at 7229 Ravenna Road, Concord Township, Ohio 44077. Notice of the BZA's regular meeting schedule shall be made by posting notice of scheduled meetings with specific dates and times on the Concord Township website, www.concordtwp.com. Unless otherwise specified in the notice, special meetings shall be held at the same location as regular meetings. The notice of a special meeting shall specify the date, time, location, and purposes of the meeting and will be posted on the Concord Township website, www.concordtwp.com, within 24 hours of any special meeting. Anyone, including the news media, who has requested advance notice of all meetings shall be notified by the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals and or her designee of the date, time, location, and purpose or purposes of such special meeting at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. To request such advance notice, anyone, including the news media, shall provide the secretary to the Board of Zoning Appeals and or her designee in writing at hfreeman@concordtwp.com with a mailing address, telephone number, and email address for purposes of giving such advance notification, and a preference if advance notice shall be by mail or email. In addition to the rule or meeting notices, all notices of public hearings of the BZA shall be given in accordance with the Concord Township zoning resolution.
I'll second.
Second. Heather, please call the vote.
Okay. Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Ms. Garkar?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
Mr. Valensik?
Yes. It has been approved. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is variance application 2025-166. Janice Dotson is requesting a variance to allow for a pavilion to be 491.4 square feet in lieu of the maximum 400 square feet permitted in section 15.03F. This is for the property located at 11370 Somerset Trail, also known as parcel number 08-A-04-C-00-012-0. Please come up and present your case.
Good evening. My name is Jason Green. Me and my wife own a house on Somerset Trail, and
And you've been sworn in, sir?
yes, sir.
And can you just state that address for the record?
11370 Somerset Trail, Concord, Ohio.
Thank you.
So, in March of 2024, I built a pavilion for my family. It's already put up. And I didn't realize, as I scrolled through the zoning, I thought not having four sides didn't need a permit. As I was advised by the zoning, Ms. Freeman over here, I got a letter in the mail. I think it might have been the second letter, but I think it was going to my old address. But as soon as I got it, it was right before the holidays, and I came here personally and filled out all the paperwork that I needed for that and the fence. And I thought I was going to be pretty close, and I'm like 91 square feet over. But my neighbor's here. My other neighbor's 90-some years old. I didn't want her to come. And I don't think there was a problem with the neighbors at all about the structure. I mean, I'm just asking if I can get the variance for, and she denied the first permit. Is that correct? Right. I did one permit, she denied it, and then I did the appeals permit. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're here today.
Okay. So it was finished in March of 2024? Is that correct?
March between, I want to say March, but it might have been, could have been April, but it was in that area.
And was this we saw the pictures,
Yeah.
the pavilion, is this like a kit? Is that why it's as big as it is, or was this something you?
I built it like that. I didn't realize of any kind of zoning stuff. I'm from a different municipality, and they would have never asked, for zoning. And when I looked, I swear, and she told me afterwards, after we got the letter, did you read this right? I'm like, it don't have four sides. It's not a garage, And I don't believe my neighbors want me to have a garage. I mean, I'm just saying, not that I understand I already built it and I'm here, and I take full responsibility for that. I'm not trying to, I didn't lie to her. I didn't say, hey, it was there before I moved, because, there's no reason to. I mean, I'm not that person. So, and I'm just here trying to get the variance for the 91 square feet that's total.
Is it just used for the patio?
It's used for the patio, for me to have I sit out there with my dogs in the evening sometimes with my wife, and I have family get-togethers. That's it. We're not having concerts or anything like that.
Does anyone else have any questions? Gentlemen on this side, any further questions?
It needs a fire feature.
Oh, okay, I'm like, fire feature.
Check the zoning. Check zoning.
Check zoning first.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Don't let Todd get you in trouble. And I'm assuming it's too hard to lop off like 5 feet of.
Absolutely. I even tried to tell her that if I could, I would, and I would, like I would definitely do that, but I don't think it's possible.
Is that a metal roof on there?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it matches my house too. I got a metal roof on the house too. I mean,
Okay. Anything else? No. Okay, you can be seated.
thank you very much.
Is there anyone else speaking for this appeal or against this appeal that'd like to come up?
Saying I was summoned,
Yeah.
you better come up.
Yeah. Would you like to say something, sir?
I'm the next door neighbour,
Before you do all that, you state your name and address.
Brian Corsh, 11364 Somerset Trail.
You've been
Concord
sworn
Town.
in?
Yes,
Thank you.
and he said, the structure's there, it doesn't worry me, and so the only thing I question him about, you should have a screen on one side to stop the sun from coming, but other than that, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else here that would like to come up in regards to this appeal? If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2025-166 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion for variance 2025-166 regarding parcel number 08A014C00012.
Second.
Was that a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Anyone would like to add anything from the board?
Well, I think addressing the Duncan factors, which we always probably should do. I only see 3 of the 7 recommended Duncan factors to be in question, really. And that is it substantial? I personally don't think it is. Was a property purchased with the knowledge of the zoning restriction? The applicant explained, he did everything he could. He was under the good faith belief that he didn't need to get a permit, and he went ahead and built it. I don't see any ill will here, or any attempt to circumvent the system. And really, then the next one is, or the third one is, that I feel is important to this case is, can he go back and change it? You addressed that with him. It doesn't make sense. It's not feasible for him to do that at this point. So I think when you apply the Duncan factors to this particular case, with paying particular attention to those 3 I just brought up, I think that he clearly is entitled to the variance.
And I'll just disagree on one of those points, is that it's only probably 5 feet longer than it needed to. If 5 feet shorter, he doesn't need it. But so I would say it is substantial. 23% of a variance for that. I mean, feels substantial, but I agree with everything else you said. Anyone else have anything?
I would just say that, it's not like he built a monstrosity. He built something nice. It's in the backyard. It's not, people from the street probably can't really see it. Or it's not going to be an eyesore to them. Obviously, it makes it as nice. I think the neighbors have stated that they're in support, which I think carries weight. So I think I'm for this.
Okay.
I agree with that. I think if you put 4 walls on it, we wouldn't be here, and the square footage would be perfectly fine if there's 4 walls on it.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
I normally don't like it to ask for forgiveness instead of permission, but this is a rare situation.
Okay. With that, the question is on approval for variance 2025-166. A yes vote approves the variance, a no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Golang,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes?
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Ms. Garkar,
Yes.
Mr. Valentic.
Yes, your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay. Next is variance application 2025-167. James Carter is requesting a variance to allow for the construction of a covered front porch with a 42 front building setback in lieu of the minimum 50-foot required in section 15.04B. This is for the property located at 10477 Johnny Cake Ridge Road, also known as parcel number 08-A-D-00-042-0. Heather, I apologize, we didn't do this with the last one, but is there any little summary you want to provide with this one before we get into it?
Oh, sure, I'd be happy to.
That's right.
Okay, I apologize, some of the wording is getting cut off the screen here. But the subject property is located at 10477 Johnny Cake Ridge Road, which is located on the north side of Johnny Cake between Coleridge and Martin Drive. The property is zoned R1 residential and contains approximately 0.513 acres. The property is currently developed with a single-family dwelling and a detached two-car garage with a shed. As proposed, the applicant would like to construct a covered front porch. The porch will be 8 foot in depth and 30 foot long. The covered porch will be located 15 feet from the west property line, 140 feet from the north property line, 55 feet from the east property line, and 42 feet from the south property line, which is the front property line. Pursuant to section 1504B, the minimum front building setback is 50 feet. In your packet and also on the screen here, there's a drawing with the proposed porch elevation that was provided by the applicant. And then I provided to you also an image, just like a street view image of what the house looked like probably last year, just with a general location of where that porch would go.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Could the applicant please come up? Please state your name and address and confirm you've been sworn in and present your case.
My name is James Carter. My address is 10477 Johnny Cake Ridge Road.
You've been sworn in, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Basically, I want to thank you guys for coming tonight, and thanks Heather and Mike for all the process of dealing with this. In the note that I supplied with this, we've been looking at doing this for a little over about a year and a half. We originally thought about doing it, but unfortunately we had my brother-in-law living with us with stage 4 cancer, and we had to shelve it for a little bit. And then my wife and I were on vacation this last December, and ice storm hit, and our gutter and all that stuff came down. And we revisited it. Originally we were looking at possibly going 12 foot, but since we heard that the zoning thing, we scaled it back to 8 foot, and we're just asking for the variance so we can put something a little bit respectful on the front of our house, and that's about it.
Do you have a contractor already?
Yes.
You do? Okay. And then is that the portion that's the peak, is that going to be open or is that going to be closed off, this portion here? Kind of where that triangle?
That's going to be closed.
Closed off. And what kind of colors are you thinking with
It's going to match the house. It's going to be the tan and dark brown.
Not being an architect, but I think it's really gonna make the house look better. I think it's a nice addition to the house.
As we drive around the block a little bit. We realized that our house was pretty much the only house that doesn't have a peak on the front of it.
Yeah.
We have, and there's other ranches also that have some kind of form of either a front porch or whatever, all have like peaks, and ours is pretty much the only one. And so we were like, you know what, this is something we wanted to go ahead and do, and so but once again, we didn't know that we thought it would be a simple thing of going in and just getting the permit, and but then all of a sudden, when I was talking over with Mike, he was like, "Oh, time out, wait a second."
Oh, thank you for coming in and
Yeah.
checking. They appreciate that too, and so do we. I think it does a good job of breaking up that roof line. Are you redoing the entire roof or just the front of the roof when you put this in?
As we do the front porch, we are reshingling the whole roof and the garage. We have a garage right in the back. We're doing the house and the garage at the same time.
You're gonna gable this right into the existing roof then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of engineering involved and a bit of expense?
Well, it's all I know is it's tied into it. I know Joe Miller, it's an Amish group. They did the garage and stuff for my daughter down the road and tied it into their house and everything. And I know Mike said that if this got approved tonight, that I would have to go to the other office and get a permit, and I know they would have to come out and inspect like the footers and all that kind of stuff.
To the county engineer.
Building department.
But
So this will effectively mitigate all the damage you've had as a result of the ice?
right, and because he came out and was gonna start doing some of the repairs, but he's like, if I do all the repairs now, he goes, I'm gonna basically rip out most of that just to put the front porch on. So he goes, why don't I just tuck all this stuff in with tarp, and then once your permit gets approved, we can just put the porch up and fix everything, and then I won't be ripping down stuff that I just put up new. And I was like, all right.
Makes sense. And I think the 8 foot is appropriate. You want to be able to set some chairs and still let people kind of walk through there and get through there. So I think that makes sense as well.
It looks like currently you had, maybe prior to the ice storm, but one of the pictures, which I think was stated was a couple years old, with the front of the house, looks like it has a very small porch in front of your front door.
Well, right now I currently have a 6-foot porch.
That's okay. That was going to be the question. Is how much
But
difference?
it's uncovered, so it's I guess not needing a permit or whatever. So there is a 6-foot porch on there right now, but it's uncovered.
Okay.
And whatever. So I'm basically just adding
2 feet.
2 feet and wider, and it's covered. But
Okay.
So, Mr. Carter, did you say that you were originally wanting to make this 12-foot long?
yeah, we originally were thinking about doing it 12 foot long, but once I had talked it over with Mike, and he was like, well, it's 8, and then also when I talked it over with our contractor, it is a lot cheaper to do it 8 foot, but
Right.
yeah, originally we were gonna do it, we were looking at doing it 12 foot out, but
So
once-
that was a compromise that you came to after speaking with Mike?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, originally, I think when Mike and I were talking, he was like, well, maybe if you could cut it down to 6 foot, we thought we'd be in code. But then after we got looking at it, and I think I talked to Heather, they were like, you know what, your house is built right on the 50-foot variance. So no matter what we went with, we were gonna have to come in and get a variance no matter what, so whether I went with a 6-foot covered or an 8-foot covered. So I was like, you know what, I don't wanna do a 6 foot, 6 foot was gonna be silly. And I thought 8 foot was pretty decent.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, you would have been unhappy with 6 foot.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you. You can be seated.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else this evening that's speaking for this appeal that'd like to come up? Or against this appeal that'd like to come up? If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2025-167 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion, please?
So,
Second.
Motion for approval?
motion for approval of the variance.
Thank you.
For approval.
Assistant Chair.
Any discussion from the board?
I think one thing I'll note is that with the 50-foot setback, we've granted variances for 10-foot or like 40-foot setbacks for some new builds. So I think the compromise of the 8-foot keeps us within that 40. We're not going beyond, doing like a 8-foot setback or anything like that. So I'm comfortable with it. I also think that it will add value to the neighborhood and to the house, and I think it's aesthetically pleasing. So I think I'm in support of this.
I think that's, for me, that's the biggest one. I think it adds value to the neighborhood. I think it's gonna look much better.
Yeah, I think the lengths that Mr. Carter went to get it right is probably been the most that we've seen out of any applicant in quite a while, to be honest. He did everything right, and I think I think that this porch is gonna make your house just really kind of pop, And the neighbors were notified, Heather?
Yes.
Okay, none of the neighbors are here to object.
There is 2 letters in the packet.
Oh, I must have missed those.
Stating that they do okay.
Yep, he has letters of support.
Okay, take your word for it. Good. And then again, just addressing the Duncan factors, I mean, I don't think any of us think that it's a substantial variance. I don't think that, he didn't, I don't think anyone could have had the knowledge when they purchased this property that if they were going to add a porch, that they would need to keep it into a certain square footage. So that obviously doesn't come into play. He went so far as to compromise from a 12-foot, which I honestly think might look even better. And he moved it down to an 8-foot. He's really helping out. Again, I think, Yvonne, you said that it's really going to make the neighborhood.
Yeah.
He testified it's the only one in the neighborhood without it. So it'll be great. It's exciting. I'm going to drop by and check it out when it's done.
Anyone else? Anything there? Okay. So then the question is on the approval of variance 2025-167. A yes vote approves the variance, a no vote does not. Heather, please call the vote.
Ms. Skarkar?
Yes.
Mr. Goling?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valensek?
Yes. The variance has been approved.
All right. When do
Thank
they
you.
start? When do they start building?
Hopefully April.
Great. Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have minutes from December 11th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December.
Second.
Any changes or discussion to any of the minutes? No. All in favor of the minutes as written, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, the minutes from December 11th, 2024 are approved. Our next meeting is March 12th, 2025. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for February 12th, 2025 is adjourned.